Hey, I'm Pastor Ryan Heller with Sermon Sidekick. I want to do everything I can do to help you prepare and deliver powerful messages from God. Today, I want to share with you 5 ways to outline a message. I've got some other ways that I'll put in another video later, but 5 outlines. I don't know if you've ever felt like you were preparing a message and you felt like it was kind of turning out like last week's message or last month's message, or maybe it was kind of sounding the same. Here's a couple of thoughts about how to outline a text and a passage, and I'm going to give you 5 of these if you want to write them down. One is a contrasting idea message. So a couple of weeks ago, I did a message where I was preaching out of 1 Samuel chapter 13 about Saul, and Saul loses the kingdom because he offers the sacrifice before Samuel gets there. And God says, I'm going to give the kingdom to a man after my own heart. So I preached a sermon about Saul versus David. David had a heart for God. Saul did not have a heart for God. And so sometimes we can use contrasting ideas. It's darkness, it's light, it's spirit, it's flesh, it's truth versus error. So many different ways, contrasting ideas. A second thing, alliteration. Now, this is kind of old school preaching, but I love to preach sermons where the points all start with the same letters. I don't do that every week, but sometimes I do. One of the advantages is it's easy to remember, and when people leave church that day, they can remember the 4 F's or the 5 P's or the 3 Q's or whatever you've got. I did a message recently on being a friend of God. Faith, fellowship, fear, and fellowship. Those are the 4 parts of being a friend of God. So I love to alliterate from time to time. Number 3, 4 steps to a powerful prayer life, which is a how-to sermon. A how-to sermon. 3 steps about how to be a godly woman, or how to be a better dad, or how to have a more powerful prayer life, or whatever that it may be. And sometimes people love to just hear very straightforward preaching. Hey, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Certain passages lend themselves to messages that are similar to that. And I love to preach sermons that way as well. Let me give you a couple more. I do what I call a preposition sermon, where I word the points around prepositions, to or for or on or between or whatever a preposition is. Out of Deuteronomy 31:8, I said, the Lord goes before me. He's my leader. So that's before. He goes behind me. He's my protector. The Lord goes beside me. He's my encourager. And the Lord goes beneath me. He's my supporter. And so I kind of played on the idea of the prepositions. Beneath, beside, behind, and before. Number 5 is asking questions. Sometimes a great message outline is just asking questions. Out of 1 Corinthians 15, 3 through 8, I did a message about the resurrection. One question is, did Christ die? That's the first question. The second one, was Christ really buried? Number 3, did Christ really rise? And I built the whole sermon about the resurrection of Jesus from 1 Corinthians 15 around asking questions. There are many ways to outline messages. I hope that these 5 have been an encouragement to you, and God bless you as you prepare to preach and to teach God's word this weekend.